right. Hello. Yeah, I'm not the tallest of individuals, but all right. Yes. Well, I will say a few things, and then if you have questions, you can ask. What I wanted to contribute to this meeting, particularly, is in the area of children, prevention of violence against children, not only in ongoing conflicts, but on a day-to-day life, as part and parcel of peace building and sustaining peace. So one of the areas that I really wanted to tackle is this new emergence of security threat as it relates to radical groups and terrorist groups that recruit children. The methodologies are the same as how children are dragged into war than other armed groups. But yet when it comes to dealing with those children, we've seen states trying to make exceptions. And this is not acceptable because law should be applied all across the board. There shouldn't be exceptions. And once we go down that path, I don't think we can have peace in the world. That generation would be stigmatized. We've seen this in Nigeria, particularly where I live now. We've seen this in other parts of the world. We've seen this in even countries like France and the UK that are willing to make exceptions to punish young people associated with terrorist groups, jihadist groups. And the discourse that's been going on is this idea of de-radicalization. Somehow this belief that if you live in an environment where there's a jihadist group, your mind has been radicalized somehow. I find this problematic because I believe that the term itself hasn't been discussed enough for there to be an international consensus on what that means. And by doing so, I think the United Nations is taking a position and actually going against religious freedom. I think people should have the right to have radical thoughts. Now, when they act on it, that's a different story. But if we begin to hold people accountable because they can have radical thinking that we don't condone, I think that's a wrong message to send around the world. Anyway, I will stop there, and if anybody has any question, please do ask, and I will do my best to answer for you. Yeah.
What do you think of the kids that are still in war?
The what?
What do you think of the kids that are still part of those groups of war, like guerrilla members and everything? Are kids that are younger than 18 years old, and they are part of this problem? What do you think about them and about their reintegration problem?
Well, what I think about them, I think everywhere in the world, the reason why young people go to these groups is because the basic necessities that protect them, or economic, social, requirements of their communities are missing. They don't have anything. So if anybody comes with any kind of ideology, it's very easy to bring them into that. So I think the best way is to prevent that from happening. But when you remove these children, it's also to put them through the same rehabilitation processes that some of us went through. If I had been arrested when I came out of a war and had been deemed as a criminal because I went through a war when I was 13 that I didn't start, I wouldn't be standing in front of you saying anything. So that being said, why should another young person? And my litmus test is this: until people can show me a war or terrorist group that children started, masterminded on their own, planned and executed, then we can discuss whether you can hold them accountable. But if you can't show me that, then we don't have that discussion because it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't do anything. If anything, it creates the possibility of people embracing that violence more, and other young people who find themselves in that position being afraid to come forward because they know this is how they will be treated.
Thanks a lot. Matthew Lee, Inner City Press. I have two questions for you. One is, you mentioned Nigeria. Next door in Cameroon, there's a situation in which people are in the Anglophone areas have been struggling for either independence or federalism. The government has basically turned off the internet and attacked them. And I'm wondering, do you see, without regard to age, I mean, basically young people in schools, the schools have been closed down. I don't know if you're aware of that. My second question has to do with UNICEF. I know you're an advocate for UNICEF. And recently in the whole Me Too movement, the deputy director, Justin Forsyth, was forced to resign due to a failure to vet him. Do you think that UNICEF in particular and the UN in general has done enough on this emerging issue of sexual harassment? And I'm asking you as a UNICEF advocate.
Let me answer the first question. I think the first question is that, I think people should have the right to express their point of view anywhere in the world, and I think governments don't have the right to shut down communication systems. I come from Sierra Leone, where on our recent election we had a similar situation. So this is going around quite a bit. And the reason why this is possible is because the government is in control of a lot of things. That shouldn't happen anywhere. Freedom of the press, freedom of thought. It doesn't have to be something that people agree with, but there's a platform for it to be heard. So I'm not for that. On your second question, I'm in no position to comment on it, but what I can say to you is that every organization in the world, UN bodies, are also human organizations, which means that we have our issues, we have our problems as well. And I think we all try to do our best to solve it. We are in the process of human dignity, and I believe we should live up to that in all areas applied. So that's what I will answer to that question. Yes.
Sarah Somerset from Polaris Images. Do you still drink the Nessie that your grandfather used to prepare for you?
That's an interesting question. No, I don't. I don't anymore. I'm not in the place where I know how to extract it. A few years ago, actually, there's somebody who gave me a business idea to generate this and sell it to other people. Maybe in a few years I'll go for that and raise some money, but for now I don't know. I think my brain cells are pretty good on their own for now, so yeah. Yes, any other questions anyone has? All right, if not, thank you very much. Thank you.